yeah. I got melanin. Oh yeah. I got melanin. You mad? We got melanin. 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 I got melanin.
What is up, you guys? It's your girl, Jazz.
What's good? I'm Nick, and welcome to Melanin Code,
the podcast where we give y'all entertainment from our goofy personalities, a discussion on life, and we're also showing out for the culture.
You know, it's a bittersweet time. We're about to end the shortest month, but the best month, because this week's topic is based on Black history, and not just any Black history, women in Black history. So this week, me and Jasmine and I, we both chose someone a woman in history, Black history, that we feel like, well, I might have chosen someone that is talked about enough, but still, just someone that influenced something today that we noticed and that probably doesn't get talked about enough in our opinion. But yeah, we both chose one person. But we're gonna talk about how Black history was really discussed for us when we were in school. What more can be involved in Black history, and just seeing how with the younger generation, well, not younger generation, we are the younger generation. Everybody that's coming after us, how do we feel like Black history is being taught to them enough? So first things first, Jazz. What is your favorite memory from Black History Month in school?
Okay. Easily, hands down, favorite memory would have to be when I was in elementary school. I was at an all Black, like, private school. So, like, everyone was Black, like students, teachers, faculty, staff, all of it, the whole shebang. So we always, like, went out for Black History Month. And one year we got to dress like anyone in history. And I'm pretty sure, I don't remember, who did I end up dressing up as? I don't even remember who I dressed up as. Can't remember. But I just remember that specific year, though, like, it felt so amazing just to see how many different people were brought up. And it's just, like, it's crazy to me because, like, not everyone gets that experience of dress up as any Black person in history that you think is important, like, there were so many, like, doctors, astronauts, teachers, social activists. Like, we were doing all that when we were, like, couldn't be no older than, like, 9. So, like, I feel like that was such an important milestone to realize, like, our history is more than just slavery. Like, we have so many important and great people. Yeah.
One of my favorite memories in elementary school, we always had the projects. You always got a project. And I remember one year I got in trouble because I did not tell my mom about the project. I think I was in first grade. And I got in trouble because I didn't tell my mom about the project. And I think at that time I just didn't want to do no work. Didn't want to ever. But I liked Black History Month, but I never wanted to do the work. I just wanted to be a part of, like, the little events that we did. Mm-hmm. And so I remember they called my mom in for parents teacher conference because I was getting called for those. And they were just like, do you know that they gotta do a Black History project? She said no. I said, I remember I got in so much trouble. But then my mom did this amazing Rosa Parks poster. It was so cute. Like, we went to the store, she bought the little buses. We printed out the pictures. We wrote out so many things. Like, I remember that poster vividly. And I just remember that being one of my, I think that's one of my first experiences with Black history, to be honest. And I just remember that, well, one of the ones that I remember doing a project for. Mm-hmm. And I want to remember it because I got in trouble. But I think that's the earliest time when I I remember Black history being like taught about, because I did go to a predominantly Black elementary school. It was public. That was before I started going to private school. But yeah, that's what it was. Like it was interesting because that it was something that we found interesting. But because all the time we learn about the history that they think is so important to us, where I'm really tired of learning about the Constitution. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm really tired about learning about George Washington. Tired of learning about all these white men. Teach me something that actually means something to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just like, my teachers, they obviously knew that because they were in school themselves and they saw this. I remember Story of Ruby Bridges, the movies, My Friend Michael or Martin. I keep saying Michael. I keep thinking Michael for some reason. That's his real name.
Martin.
Name was Michael first.
But the movie is.
I know. I know. I can't help it. I just be thinking that first. But so like that, I remember that movie, and I remember Ruby Bridges' story. Like, you remember that movie with the little girl? I just remember watching it, and that's how I remember history, because you watch those movies. They would roll the TV in while everybody sit on the floor and stuff. We watching much movie today. Be like,
man, movie
know what
it
it is.
Fast. Oh man!
And they would play My Friend Martin on PBS all day long, or they had so many movies, and I just can't remember them. They would play a Harry Tubman movie.
Yeah, there was like so many just different movies. Oh, can't forget.
I'm gonna look up the Black History cartoon.
Selma too, like the original Selma.
I don't think I watched that in elementary school, but I did watch it when I was older.
I watched that in first grade. Yeah, but they had like, we had to get like permission slips and stuff, or like
those stuff
that we were watching and stuff. So they were like, if you didn't get that permission slip signed, you was not watching movies that day. And I was like, here you go, because I'm watching my movies. Okay.
Like, it was just like, it's so wild because we remember watching these things. And now, now you know they're gonna be playing Hidden Figures. Mm-hmm. They're gonna be playing Ballerina's Tale, The Butler. Like, well, I don't think they're gonna play that, but like all of those different things.
Probably play The Butler. That's important. I mean, for kids. Well, okay, maybe high school.
Yeah, maybe when you're older, but still. Yeah, like, these are just different things that you will see.
Yeah,
but I hope they ain't showing nobody Color Purple for that early. Oh, don't do that, damn.
That's it's a long movie. That and Roots. Oh my gosh,
you'll be watching that movie for the whole month of February. I'm be honest with you, class is not that long. Imagine it was like, all right, guys, we're gonna pick back up on this tomorrow. The teacher writing down the time when we stop. Like, dog, we watching this movie since February 1st. It's the 12th. Like, no, it's a lot. It's compact that you just can't just sit and watch it all at one time. That's like, don't get in trouble. Don't let the class get in trouble. Y'all ain't watching the movie no day. Ooh. Now it's still sitting there on 12 minutes and 56 seconds. The teacher pausing the movie because there ain't nobody quiet. Yeah, sweetie, we ain't never finished this. But me and Jasmine and I are going to get into the people that we chose. So I'm gonna let Jasmine go first. And what do you like? And with the person you chose, what do you think she influenced most in today's society?
All right, put my glasses on for this. Mind my eye, guys. I'm having complications, so it keeps watering, but we'll get through this. So the person I chose is Ruth Carter. Most of you guys probably know her from being the costume designer for Black Panther. And so she's a costume designer, but she's done like a ton of different projects, and she has gotten awards for best costume design. She got the Academy Award for that one, and then she got the Satellite Award for best costume design, Critics' Choice Award, and the Guild for Career Achievement Award. So like I just feel like she is such a not undermined, but like you don't really pay attention to when it comes to film. A lot of people don't pay attention to everyone who does the behind the scenes, which is just as important as the actors who are portraying these characters, because you wouldn't have these characters without the costumes. You wouldn't get that full effect. And I know especially with Black Panther, yo, imagine Black Panther without all of the costumes and all of the
Would have not been
on. Like you wouldn't get that effect. So it's like her role within that movie played so much importance of getting across the culture and
the message.
Yeah, and the important message that that was wanted to be showed. Like, because if anybody was to try to like if anyone was to try to explain to anyone else what African heritage is, and you don't embark on the amount of backgrounds and the amount of different languages and cultures that go into each aspect of what they wear, you wouldn't get that full effect. You wouldn't get that effect. And so Ruth Carter, she's amazing. And she portrayed Black culture so well, African culture so well. And I just love her.
As you should. So for me, I decided to choose someone who is still talked about in Black history, and it is frequently period talked about, but with us having our first female vice president this year,
yes, ma'am,
Vice President Kamala Harris, I decided this is a good time to actually talk about it. So we all know and love Shirley Chisholm. She was the first African American woman in Congress in 1968, and the first woman, not just African American, but first woman and African American to seek the nomination for the president of the United States from one of two major political parties. So if we just take it back to remember it, just think about the fact that people always point, like it was just a whole thing that was pointed out that, oh, we'd never have a Black woman in office. We would just like they do this, and that. Would have these whole ideas of the fact that Black women can't run a country. Like y'all don't know who can run a country because y'all let so many white men or just men in general run a country, and sometimes most of the time run it into the ground.
Pretty much, yeah.
As we just seen, but overall, it's like you don't she's someone who really. She thought about the whole thing, and she just, you could tell from like reading her story and understanding like, okay, she saw that there needed to be some change and these white men weren't doing it, period. Point blank. It needed to be changed on nearly everybody's side. And this is so I'm reading her story right now. So she was actually born in New York, in Brooklyn, New York, in 1924, and she's the oldest of four daughters of immigrant parents from Charles St. Hill, a factory worker. Charles St. Hill from Guana and Ruby Seal St. Hill seamstress from Barbados. So mind you, you have two immigrant parents. The immigration policy is really a problem already. And you know how difficult it is to see people come into it's more difficult now, but you see how difficult it is for people to come into the country. So you're just like, okay, this is something I want to change. And like, okay, you're the oldest of four daughters. Most of the time when you're the oldest, you got a lot of responsibility on your shoulders as is.
Already paid in the way.
Yes. This is a woman who, from the beginning, people could tell that she could do something. She had a life in politics somewhere. Because, okay, she went to Brooklyn College and graduated cum laude in 1946, and she won prizes on the debate team.
As she should.
Babe, sound if your professors are encouraging you to get involved in political career, you know that our professors don't encourage us to do nothing but do your work most of the time. But then at the same time, a story like I think about her was she had two issues in the opinion in the eyes of the society at the time, or in the eyes of the government. She was Black and she was a woman. So at that time, it was just like it didn't make sense for her to become like anything dealing with politics, because they saw her as a problem in two ways. So initially she did work as a nursery school teacher, which is a big shift. But she went back and earned her master's at Columbia University in early childhood education. And she just continued to make sure she worked in the community, because later she became a consultant in the New York City division of daycare. And it's just like she made sure she joined any organizations around the community to overall make sure that people are being heard from her stance. Like someone who's been in this situation. Okay, so she joined the League of Women Voters, and she was a part of the National Association for Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP, of course, the Urban League, as well as Democratic Party Club in Bed-Stuy, I think it's Bed-Stuy they call it, in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. So it was just like people look down on her because it was a mere fact of you're a woman and you're Black and you think you're gonna run our country, and a part of like the civil rights movement. You're still doing the civil rights movement. You're still currently dealing with all the things that are going on, trying to make sure everybody's getting equality. And this is like she had the courage to go up there and say, "Hey, I'm going to make sure our voice is heard. I don't care if I don't win. If I do, of course she cares, she wins, but I'm going to get my message across in any way I can from being in this election." So this is something that you could tell it was some discrimination she of course faced, because when do Black people not experience discrimination? But for her to actually, it's the but, for her to actually get up and say, "I'm going to run for president," but and already being a part of like being the first African woman in Congress, she knew that some days if change don't come today, it's gonna come soon. It's gonna come eventually, because I know I started it. I got something going. And I think like if I had to pass away in 2005, we were 4 years old. You're going on 20. Like
alive.
We were alive when she was alive. Like, dude. And for people to say, "Oh, that was so long ago," no, it's never that case. It's like it's always so weird to me when people say that, because it's just like these people are like, you have Ruby Bridges, she's still alive. Mae Jemison, she's still alive. Like, isn't Angela Davis still alive? Like, these are people who were a part of these movements. So it's the constant. Are they still alive? Oh, that's so long ago. These people are still alive and walking. And to be honest, had Martin Luther King not been assassinated, we'd probably been born when he was alive.
Yeah.
He probably would have lived to when we were born. It's just like Malcolm X, probably. Like Fred Hampton, maybe. Like, these are just all different things. Like, these are all different ideas, thought processes. These people could still be alive when we were born. We would be like toddlers or like newborns and stuff when they were still alive.
Yeah, no, like especially with Martin Luther King, my grandmother went to school with him. He is literally the same age as Barbara Walters.
She's alive.
The same age. Like,
Betty White is alive. She's seen all of these movements. So these are not long ago. These are the whole fact of, it's just like, dude, if Betty White can live through all of this and y'all and still see y'all fighting for equality, what y'all not getting? Ain't nothing long ago. Y'all talking about protect Betty White.
But Betty protect our Black people. Protect our Black people.
Betty White is looking at all this just like, again?
She rewatching history. And she even got to go turn on the TV to rewatch it.
Betty White has seen the assassination, seen MLK, Martin Luther King. I mean, when I say Martin Luther King, MLK, Malcolm X. She's seen on the news Fred Hampton. Who else? She's seen. She's probably met Rosa Parks. She's
Rosa
probably
Parks died in 2005.
she's probably met Coretta Scott King. Dude, these are not always so long ago. Because if that's the case, they would have been going a long time ago.
The first Black child to integrate schools.
She's like in her 60s.
Still alive and kicking.
Let me see this, because dude, how old is Ruthie Bridges?
She's like mid-60s at least.
66 years old.
Like I said.
She was 16 when my parents were born. Like, dude, y'all are jokes. Y'all
are big jokes. If you think that the problems at hand are just one
of the women that was involved in okay, first of all, the original woman who sat on did she pass away?
I'm not sure, but I know you're talking about the original woman who didn't want to
sat on the bus.
Yeah,
I think she is.
She might be.
She is still alive. The original woman who sat on the bus is still alive.
Still alive.
Like, are y'all feeling that?
One of the women was younger than Rosa Parks. She was only like 16, I think. And
then one of the women that was involved in the 16th Street church bombing that lived, like out of the five, it was 5 girls in that building. A lot of people don't know that.
4 of them died.
4 of them passed. It's just like, and that woman's still alive today and dealing with the issues that was caused that night. She remembers that.
Yeah.
She's still alive. Like, it's like, dude, Black history is not, it's actual history and stuff. It's been so long ago. These people are still alive. Yeah. History is like George Washington, Alexander Hamilton. They're dead. That's real history. This is still our present, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
If we're going off of that, then the history is my first birthday. Shoot, like, dude, these people are still alive, walking around, looking at us go through the same thing they just went through, and looking at nothing changing. Yeah. And it's just like it's like, I hate when people say that was so long ago. I'm gonna say that again, and then I'm gonna show you 8 people, nearly 8 people who are still alive. And let's think about the fact of the people that were assassinated and killed that could still be alive. I was born when these people were still walking. Like, freaking, they were just like the other day. Rosa Parks and Coretta Scott King could have watched Shrek. Like,
they could have. They really could have. I think it's like Shrek 2 came out in like 2005. They could have watched it. They were still alive.
One, at least. Watching Love and Basketball, all of these movies, like, babe.
Best Man Holiday was out when she was still here. Come on now.
They was working on the sequel. Get ready for the sequel. Get some ideas ready. Please tell me again how my history was so long ago. It's not.
It's still here. It's still in the present. It's still happening.
That history saw like 3 different generations. Our grandparents, our parents, us. Like, dude. This hit it just because they're not hosing us down anymore, which they do it if they
still being oppressed. They shooting us with riot bullets now.
Just because, I'm just like, dude, just because they're not segregating buildings anymore, which sometimes they do. Like, dude, Sundown Town still exists. Sundown Town still exists, and that's not not history. That's current. That's began in the past and it's still going on. Like, I hate when people just like, and then it's like, what year? Shirley Chisholm died in 2005. We were starting elementary school soon, pre-K. Like, our parents probably looked at the news and been like, she just passed? Probably. Like, dude, I hate people don't think before they speak. I'm ready to smack them because, like, it's the dumbest thing that's been said. That was so long. Like, if my history teacher ever told me that was so long ago, if the teacher me and Jasmine had would have said, that was so long ago, I would have screamed, because it's just like, you ready to teach us about these old white men and this Constitution
that was so long ago.
This Constitution that would have kept me a slave if it still mattered. I was 3/4 a person for y'all. Like, it's an issue because it's just like, what's the point of calling it the past when it's still, these people still alive and kicking, these people still alive watching us go through the same thing again.
Yeah.
Like, shorty, if you want to excuse your racist grandparents, then do that. But don't do that at my expense. Don't do that in front of your other racist family members, because it's not mine. I'm like, we got, like, my grandmother, 9 out of 10, my grandfather saw these events happening. These people still alive. You tell them, they be just like, so that was so long ago. You talking about my grandparents here? My grandparents are still alive? Or my grandparents that just passed recently? Like, that's
no,
stupid.
like, it's so recent because, like, my mom was still like a small child when segregation of theaters and stuff like that and restaurants and things like that was happening. She was she was young when it was happening, but it was like, that was still a reality. Like,
but then you had to realize, even though segregation ended, white people still didn't care, though. They were still
didn't care. It was still happening.
Our family, our parents, our grandparents, our families, their lives are still in danger because they're like, y'all pouring chemicals into pools with little black kids. Are y'all straight? Are y'all? Because you don't want your kids swimming with black kids. They pee in the pool anyway. Like, yo, it was like, white people were just so hurt because they didn't want to be seen as equal as nobody else because they think that they were first people here. No, you weren't.
You stole
the land was already stolen, and then you gonna steal more people and add more to it, and then get mad when they're free, and then go make it, and then figure out ways to make it worse for them to live in the life that you stole them from, stole them and brought them to. Like, white people have no boundaries in a sense, for, like, not all, of course. Like, of course, there are people who understand some of these things, and understand, okay, history, this was not that long ago. Yeah. My grand, like you got, hey, Jane Fonda still alive? I just realized that Jane Fonda is still alive.
Yeah.
She was, wait, not Jane Fonda. What is her name? What is that white woman's name that's always getting on people's necks on Oprah?
I know who you're talking about. Oh, man. Because I love her. Oh, man. I know exactly who you're talking about. She literally called white people out and it's just like, white people are terrible.
Jane Elliott. She is 87 years old. Y'all are not serious.
She is amazing. She is amazing because she makes white people uncomfortable because she's telling you the truth. She's literally is one of those people who is just like, white people are oppressive. We have white privilege.
Cry about it.
And I will make you uncomfortable until you understand this truth that just because you're white, you're going to be treated better than black people. I think she did one thing one time and was like, would you want to be treated the way a black person was treated to a group of white people? And they was all sitting there all awkward, like,
quiet, not a word, silence.
And it just shows it shows you like people know what it is, but you know, they don't want to accept that that's the reality. They don't want to accept that they are part of an oppressive race that gets treated better in the world and society.
Think of, like, dude, like, y'all are not serious. Y'all are jokes if you think that history was so long ago, but these people are still living. I don't care. Like, if it had, like, nearly, it says here she first conducted her Brown Eyes, Blue Eyes class the day after the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. That means she knew that y'all was going to see how oppressive y'all are. Y'all are going to see. I'm going to make you feel bad. It's just like, she would go on these shows.
The fact that there's so much history that's told to us that is so skewed, like so much of our Black history that is skewed. Because I know that every Black child is taught that Martin Luther King Jr.
was assassinated from a
gunshot wound. No, because he actually survived the surgery. He was alive once the surgery was done, but somebody came into his room and suffocated him in his hospital bed.
And a lot of people don't even know
A
that.
lot of people don't know that part of the history. Like, he was
People don't know
truly
that Coretta Scott
celebrated. He
King
was
sued.
celebrated.
Coretta Scott King sued them and won the case. She sued and won.
Like, there's
Like-
a lot of things that happened. Like, the death of Bob Marley. A lot of people were like, don't know this, but he was, okay, how do I say this? So everyone knows he died of cancer, right?
Yeah.
But he died of cancer because there was a government assassin. Yes, the government has assassins. This is true. And this guy was literally paid to inject cancerous cells into Bob Marley. And the guy admitted this on his deathbed, that he was paid by the government because Bob Marley was pretty much an activist through music. He was giving people
That
ideas.
man wasn't even trying to be an activist through music the
And
whole time.
But he was giving music which was freeing to
Gave hope to people.
population and was bringing ideas of, we can be better than this. We don't have to be oppressed, but we don't have to be, like, we can build up our own selves. And what did the government do? Kill him. They killed him. So it's like there's so many different historical Black aspects that we aren't taught. There's so many people that we're not taught about. Like, and it's actually like, it's crazy because like the movie Hidden Figures, we're not taught that when we were younger.
At all.
If it wasn't for the movie, a lot of people wouldn't know about the first Black people and the first Black women in NASA who were accredited for such amazing heights, you know? So it's just like, we talk about Black history so much and why it's so important, because we're given white history all year long. We're given white histories all year long. We just want our 28.
And then they're just like, what about White History Month? You mean every day?
No, what has me
It's y'all
shook?
history on Black History Month. But yeah, overall, it's just like Black history is not really history. It's present time continuing. It's just a never-ending story it's like a never-ending story that has not reached its closing point.
It's really just, it's the present of America. It's the present time of America, because you can't call it history until there's been some type of era change, and we're still in the era of white oppression.
To be honest, the only thing that changed through that is clothes and the certain treatments. Stuff got better, but yeah, it still had to continue to get worse before it got somewhat better, and it's still bad.
Yeah.
So since we're here and we're talking about how Black History Month and people are ridiculous, so a Utah school made Black History Month optional, then reversed it itself. I hate this. The Maria Montessori School Academy, a charter school in North Oregon, Ogden.
Ogden?
What is that? Ogden. Allow parents to opt their students out, but after an outcry and discussion with parents, it changed course. What?
Yeah, and that's not the only school that I heard that did that. Like, there were elementary
This is
schools
the most recent one that because it had to get reversed.
Yeah.
The director of the school said that the episode was alarming, and that the school had been trying to change hearts with minds with grace. So I'm gonna give you the option to learn history, but I'm gonna still teach you the white history. I hate y'all.
Like,
okay,
Black
here it
history
is.
is still y'all history too.
To be honest, you wouldn't have that heating system that you need. Them lights. There's a lot of stuff that you wouldn't have if it wasn't for us.
Wouldn't have stoplight, wouldn't have electricity, because let's be real, Thomas Edison didn't create electricity. It was a Black man who created the filament, and Thomas Edison stole it. Just saying.
He stole the patent and everything. But Black charter school in Utah allowed parents to withdraw their children from a Black History Month curriculum, but reversed its decision after a public outcry and meeting with parents to address their concern. I'm not pronouncing that name. I'm not pronouncing that place. In elementary and junior high school, about 40 miles north of, I don't really care. And in a statement on Sunday, the school had with regret sent an opt-out form to parents who requested the option. Parents requested from you that their children get out of Black History Month. He did not give details about the parents' concern or say how many had tried to withdraw their children from the events and activities that the school has scheduled as part of a month-long program. He said in a statement, which was published on the Utah Montessori Facebook page, that the episode was alarming and the school had been trying to change hearts and minds with grace and courtesy. He said that the families that initially had questions and concerns have willingly come to the table to resolve any differences. It's not differences. It's a little bit it's not even a little bit. It might just be racism. You don't want your kids to learn that history goes beyond them being white. And that at this time, no families were opting out of our planned activities, and we have removed the options. It's been a tough week as we work to honor and follow each child's and each adult's personal journey. Ain't no personal journey, shut up. He declined to respond. Further questions on Monday included how many parents had sought the option and why, but he said the school now had full participation in its Black History Month activities after he talked with parents. I spoke with families and expressed their importance and assured them that all content shared would be ethical, rooted in the state's social studies standards. He said in an email, school board members did not reply to an email message seeking comment. I hate it here. Only three of Montessori's Mariah Montessori's Academy, 22 students are Black. 3 of them are Black. 70% are white. Y'all make me sick. Back in the lesson, we heard about this, and they cut up. They were just like, "Y'all not serious."
If y'all can do that, if the
I should be allowed to not have to learn about the Constitution every single week, back to back to back.
If the white people can do that during Black History Month, those 3 Black children should be able to be like,
I learned about the Constitution.
So I should be learning about this white history throughout the rest of the year.
If it ain't Hamilton playing, I don't want to watch it. I don't hear about George Washington. You teach me about people that would have owned me.
George Washington was not okay. One thing I hate is that people say that, but George Washington was a good slave owner. He still had slaves. He didn't even free all of his slaves when he died. When he died, his wife was still owning slaves. So that tore families apart, okay? You had...
that feed you. Those are the good ones. What's wrong with y'all?
People are like, but Abraham Lincoln did so much for Black people.
Abraham Lincoln was still racist, and he did it because...
The only reason Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation was so that the country would not tear apart. Okay? It pretty much stated that if you already had slaves, you could keep them, but you just can't buy no more. He did not care.
A lot of people think that meant we were free. That didn't mean that. Like, y'all don't know about Juneteenth? What's wrong with y'all? Like, everybody was free.
Even if they were free, you had Jim Crow laws.
They still have slaves today. Sometimes, what do you mean? The school prison pipeline system, babe.
And let's not get started on private prisons. And then not only you have the police. Do you know the origins of the police? Slave catchers. The badge is still the same at all. They just changed it to the police. It was slave catchers. Come on now. Like, the whole thing is corrupt. It's been corrupt since the beginning. So
where's the change that y'all swear happened?
things
I'd like to see it.
change has come, but it's still crappy. It's still crappy. There's still a long way to go, because if I'm still afraid to walk outside, if not even to walk outside, if I still have to code switch, I have to code switch
To make sure that I'm not racially profiled most of the time.
if I have to walk outside and
I'm gonna be honest, like
from Brooklyn to Manhattan,
I'm gonna be honest. Me and Jasmine probably had to use going to Catholic school as an advantage sometimes for us, because I remember I have used that. It was just like that, like they saw you as the good black kids and stuff. Like, dude, it's really it's like y'all don't understand how this makes us uncomfortable to the fact that we have to keep talking about it and keep telling people about it. I shouldn't have to tell you what I went to Catholic school. I'm not one. It don't matter if I went to Catholic school, public school. I could have went Banneker down the street. But that don't matter, because at the end of the day, I still got my education. I'm still doing my own thing.
Exactly.
What I do is not anybody else's business but mine. Like, but it seems like
bad that we have to say that we came from certain areas or we went to certain schools. Like, it's the fact that when Black parents have to think about the type of education they want to give their child so that they can have an up in the world, like, that's how you know there's still problems within society. That, oh, if I say that my child went to private schools and went to this majority white school, that they'll have a chance at a better type of future for themselves. Like, it shouldn't be that way, that we have to think about where we go to school to have notoriety within the white community to be seen as better. Like, it doesn't make any sense that we have to still have that within our society. Like, it's frustrating. It's so frustrating. That's all I gotta say.
It's like, it's frustrating because it's like, I know when my parents put me in private school, it's because they wanted me to get a leg up in life, because they kind of knew. We live in a city, we live in an area like we live in South Fulton, that's predominantly Black.
Yeah.
You know that they're not giving us the best education system. They're not giving us the best chance. My mom herself even works in it, and she works in it herself, and she knows that it can be 10 times better than it can be better on. Like, she sees what different school systems do on different sides. Like, on our side of town, we're still using books that didn't even have Barack Obama as the president yet. I'm just like, dude, this is like, systemic racism doesn't exist. Shut up. Shut up talking to me. I'm tired of arguing this. I'm tired of talking to people. I'm done explaining to white people how they're wrong. White people don't like racist white people, correction. Racist white people don't like, I'm never gonna say white people. I'm never gonna just say white people in general, because you have people that understand. You have people that's gonna actually sit here and take up for us. But that don't mean your allyship should be heard over my message.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't be stopping to correct anything I say, because you don't know. It's just like, overall, allyship should be seen, not heard as much. Sit in the background, like we said, and let us move and do this work that we're trying to do. Be a part of the change, but don't try to be the head of the change. That's not how that works. Because you're not the one enduring it. Because right now, if you leave this march right now that we in, you leave this, when George Floyd's case come up and people are outside of that courthouse or whatever happens, when you go home, they're not gonna come looking for you being outside that house. They're gonna look for all the Black people. So like, don't act like, oh, well, I'm a part of the race too. When it come down to it, and it's time to go to jail, they're not gonna treat you the same. They don't treat you like they treated at the time, the Freedom Riders, when it was white women and men on there, they were treated equally. They were treated equally as Black people. They were just like, oh, you going to jail too because you standing with them. They would call you N-word lover. Like, they saw you as you hating your own race. They did. Because you're standing with somebody else, you believe in equality. That's my whole thing.
Nowadays, you get a slap on the wrist. Like, take, I'm gonna forever use this as an example. The Capitol rioters versus the Black Lives Matter protesters, okay? And you have to notice the difference in words. The rioters versus the protesters. One of the rioters was moved to a different prison because he was a vegetarian and wasn't eating.
They didn't serve that food.
Like, y'all treated him so nicely. They were
Keep telling y'all I wanna get out now.
escorted out of the Capitol. Escorted, meaning they was walking out on their free will.
It was like y'all were touring. That's the sad part. It was like y'all were touring the school.
Like, what? But the protesters, oh, y'all getting shot with riot bullets. Y'all are getting just jacked up off the street for no reason. Y'all getting pepper sprayed. And all of these were peaceful protesters. You still got the thousands of protesters that were in DC who are still missing. But yeah, no one's talking about that. We got thousands and thousands of Black people of all different ages still missing from the DC protests. Oh, but we should just forget about white oppression.
Forget that even happened. Like, dude, no.
Just ghetto. Just ghetto.
Honestly, I don't really know what to tell people anymore because just like we're tired of not being heard. We're tired of people thinking that they can, but you're an ally. You have to talk over the message. It's just like, no, legit, sit back and listen. We're trying to tell you. We're trying to explain.
Like,
this is the change you want, and you're not giving it.
The whole purpose of an ally is when we're in those situations of protests that you're helping us, you know? Like, it's not you taking on everything. Like, it's you being there to help back us up and protect us. Like, when it was the protest over the summer, like, when it came down to it and the police lines, those weren't even police. That was like full on riot police trying to back up protesters when they had formal formal paperwork saying that they could be protesting. When white people would literally stand in front of Black people, that's when allies, you're helping protect us while we're giving our message. Use your white privilege, your white power to help us out, to protect us so we can get our message across, you know? Like, allies sometimes think that they have to be the one speaking. You don't have to be the one speaking. Share things that Black people are saying. Share things that are formerly said by, not from me even said, but just written and talked about. Like, you don't have to, you can put your 2 cents in, but don't make that be the forefront of your argument, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like, I don't really know how to explain it anymore. How do you get someone to understand that this is not, it's not gesture, it's not, of course, it's not just our fight, but it's not the fight that you take over. Yeah. And we want you to be a part of it, of course, and we want you to know that we appreciate. Well, let's not even appreciate. This is what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be. Yeah. It's supposed to be
common human decency. Correct. Human decency.
It's common decency. It's not even appreciate. We don't appreciate you doing what you have common decency to do. Like, it's ridiculous how we're not doing that. You're invited to cookout for coming. Like, there's all this little stuff. Like, no, we're not doing that. You're doing what your ancestors should have did, or should have did, and left us alone and fought to actually be equal. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, overall, it's not people that are like Jane Elliott constantly telling white people you're an oppressor. There are not as many as her, and going up on national television telling them, do you not see how you're the problem? Like, Oprah had it where all these white supremacists were out there and they were just like, well, we like you, Oprah. You're one of the good ones. She said, what did one of the good ones mean? I'm still Black. Ain't no one of the good ones or nothing. You just want to, like, they're sitting here talking about you're one of the good ones, you're one of the good ones. What's the bad ones? Where are the bad ones? The bad ones that you put in these bad situations to where they gotta rob and steal and kill to get out of it, get better lifestyles. The ones that gotta like kill, steal to get to live. Just like they living in these situations because this is what we they gave us the scraps at the end of the day. It's just like if you work as hard, work where? You discriminate us in the office. You discriminate us when it comes to the job applications. My name can be a part of something, a reason why you don't hire me because you think I'm ghetto. You ain't
And
never
a
heard
lot
that
of
name
times it's
before.
like that. It is like that, especially for people who are of African descent and have cultural names. A lot of times they are not chosen because a lot of employers will think that they don't know English just based off of their first name or based off of their last name. Like there's so many like misconceptions that are perceived just by looking at a name. So many, and it's just like, but did you not read the rest of my resume? I went to the top schools. I got the top education. I have all the qualifications. But yet, just because of what my name looked like, you just skimmed over.
You see me as different,
You
like
see
dude.
automatically, or you'll hire me just to fit a quota. Oh, okay. All right.
Like what it's like. What do you want us to sit here and do? You want us to sit here and take what you give us, take these little factory jobs, these fast food minimum wage jobs, knowing that we can do more than what you offering us. Then these people in the act. Taraji P. Henson just talked about this the other day. She was just like, I was getting paid $40,000. Meanwhile, my co-stars they getting paid. Mind you, it's a whole white cast, and Taraji P. Henson starred a movie. I don't care what nobody say. When nobody pays Brad Pitt that much. Taraji P. Henson played her role and played it well, and she does it every time, and yet still don't get no respect. It took her being in a black film directed by a black man to actually get the actual pension that she was supposed to get what she was paid. Like what I put my work in day in day out. Mm-hmm. This movie probably took us months to make. Mm-hmm. I can't see my family as frequently as I want to, and I have to sit here and change. Like my whole mental state is being changed because of this movie. And you pay me $40,000 while everybody else getting paid $1 million, and I'm one of the lead actors on this.
Same thing about Viola Davis. Like Viola Davis is always compared to being the Black Meryl Streep. So why isn't she getting the amount of notoriety? Why is she getting paid
as much as Meryl Streep getting paid?
Like there's always this standard of, oh, but you're just as good as them, so why am I not getting paid as much?
No, at this point, at times, there's no just as good. There's better. It's got to the point where now you can't even be famous. You gotta be black famous, and that's as far as it goes. There are so many actors that are black famous that aren't really known. And you show it to a white person, like if you show them to a white person, they wouldn't even know. These are people that we're talking about. Like these are things in history, like actors, like and back then actors like us, Cicely Tyson. Think about the fact that she refused any type of work that would exploit her skin, anything that would make her look horrible. Like the help. Okay, I understand. Like on Broadway, I understand that fully why she took that, because it was supposed to be like you're hearing the story from their side, and that's what she wanted to tell. If you sit here exploiting her skin, you sit here trying to make her a maid, a slave, these things, like she would take those roles, some of them, but it wasn't that mean. That didn't mean I was gonna take it every time. That didn't mean that's all I could do. It's just like we sit here, we watch this woman. She had nearly 7 decades worth of work that she did. And we don't just know her for just being a slave or no maid. We know her for breaking the stereotype, breaking the stigma that only black people can play stereotypical black things that she wants. A single mother and stuff, and that take care of like a bunch of kids, a criminal, a slave, a maid, all these stuff. Like, dude, that's something that they're sitting here trying to fight. And it's like,
and it's the fact that like it's still a huge problem in any type of media, like Broadway, musical theater, dance, all the art forms. It's still such a huge problem. such a huge problem when you want to get the notoriety you deserve. It's a problem. But it can change, but it takes the change of a mindset of the whole community, the whole embodiment of people. It takes more than just the minorities to say something. It takes more than just the allies. It's a whole mind shift that has to happen.
Like, overall, we're not gonna get the respect that we're not gonna get the respect we want unless we take it. Period. Point blank. And it's people trying to tell us to sit back and just wait for your opportunity. There's no waiting. We're tired of it. We've been waiting for decades. We've been outperforming, outworking, outdoing all of these people. You got people of all these different races, all these different ethnicities, outdoing the majority, and yet it's still not getting the same respect. I'm just like, do you not see these people killing it in the entertainment industry? And y'all think that we sitting here being counterparts to Taylor Swift? Please. Brad Pitt is not all that. What is wrong with y'all? What white person can y'all let go of that you keep? Don't compare. Beyonce out here outworking these people 10 times over and over again. Shows, movies,
and puts in twice the amount of work.
Overall, and yet she's overrated. Taylor Swift is overrated. Who told her to try to do a black breakdown in the back of a song?
First of all, I like old Taylor Swift. I'm just saying. But after a while, it got old because she was
annoying. It's like the whole sense of
she just broke up in, and
I need Taylor to get broken up with again, please. Thanks. Anyway, back to initially, just overall, we sit here talking about how we've been taught since birth. Like, we've been taught since we were little. You're gonna have to work 10 times as hard as anybody as your counterparts. You're gonna have to work 10 times as hard.
And you're gonna have to have double the amount of safety standard precautions than any person who's white.
Girls have to work hard, 10 times harder than guys. Black women have to work 10 times harder than men and white women.
Mm-hmm. Malcolm X said it best. The African American woman is the least respected and protected within the United States and the world. Like, we are.
But it's the most educated. Think about that. Black women are legit.
We hold society together. Literally formed society. Like, if you think about what The Help is about, the movie The Help. If you think about what it's about, Black women took care of white people's children.
Dude,
this was not even just a rarity. This was a lot. There was a lot of times happen all over the country. This was a well-known thing. Even when we was in slavery. Black women who were in the house took care of the master's children.
I don't really understand that whole situation. It's just like, you sit here and think that we were going to sit in the same jobs all day in, day out, taking care of everybody else's kids, while mine sit back and suffer and don't really probably have to live the same lifestyle I had to live. Like, I'm a maid, my daughter's more or less gonna be a maid, my husband's a factory worker or dead, and my son's going down there the same line. No, it was time for change. We said it was time, and it's time to move on.
Mm-hmm.
There's no ifs, ands, but about it. And it's just like, now, like we said earlier, we sitting here, we're making history, and then it gets undermined.
Mm-hmm.
We're tired of watching that. We're tired of sitting here thinking, why is my history not important as the white man withholding me in some chains and shackles? My history goes beyond slavery.
And does.
I was like, why are we in school? And we in high school, right? Me and Jasmine, Jasmine had history class before I did. I would walk in the period next. I would walk in, she just like, just get ready for the BS. And that's period. When class start, you already knew it's gonna be some mess because it's just like, why is the Salem witch trials were more important than the civil rights movement to our teacher. But when it's time to pick that cotton up, baby, she picked it up and brought it. Babe.
Granted, that teacher had a lot of, how do I say this in the nicest way?
Don't say it at all.
That teacher had a lot racial history. Her family history had a lot of racist.
We can't really say she was racist. You can't, because
you can't say she was racist, but her family history was very racist.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you already knew that she was brought up with this whole mindset of, oh, so this is, like, ooh. She did have her problems. She did. But a lot of it has to do with what's being taught in America. The history that is being taught in America. Like, if we want change, we got to change the focus of the history that is being taught. Because the history that's being taught is white American history, not the true, full American history.
So before me and Jasmine get on our soapboxes for real and start hitting that MLK, Malcolm X, Coretta Scott King, Rosa Parks, Septima Clark, Shirley Chisholm, Angela Davis, all of them. Before we start hitting that on y'all, we're gonna get into Let Me Put You On. All right, everybody, we are now at the end of the show. Let us put you on to some things we have been loving lately. This can be anything, starting from movies, books, shows, music. Babe, let me put you on to Sir. His music for me, I think my sister put me on mainly. She would listen to the song Devils on repeat all day long. But I've gotten to his music more, and it's just like, dude, I really mess with him. I rock with it.
Okay. All right, so I guess let me put you guys on this week is, it's a quote. So pretty much my quote for this week is, be the change that you want to see. And that means for anything in your life, whether it be the change of society, whether it be your own self change, be the change that you want to see. You can talk about how you want things to change. You can talk about it all you want, but unless you start putting in these actions, you'll never start seeing the work for it. So yeah.
Thanks for tuning in with us this week for Black History Month. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you learned some stuff. We hope you watched My Friend Martin. We hope you watched the Harriet Tubman movie. We hope you watched the Frederick Douglass movie, the Ruby Bridges movie. We hope you watched all of it. We hope you relived your childhood. And now, Jasmine, you know what? Go ahead and do your thing. But I'm putting my fist up. No, I'm not.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. We know it's a long video, but it's worth it. Black History Month is an important month that should be celebrated year round. Okay. But yes, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and make sure you guys tune into our social media so that you know when we're gonna post, when we're not gonna post, when we might double post. I don't know. But make sure you guys stay connected with us. And we want to thank you guys for watching. See you next time. Bye.